Hi everybody, here's Christian, and this is Pico-8 Hero, and as you can tell by my sexy Scarlett Johansson voice, actually not sexy at all, I have a bit of a cold. I had a bit of a cold. I haven't been recording for a couple of days. So you have to apologize. I have to apologize for this episode maybe sounding a little bit weird, as if my pronunciation wasn't weird enough. Right, so let us get right to business. Let us not lose any words on this. I don't think this proverb really works in English, I think. Right. Let's start. Cool. I remember now. Cool. So in the last episode, we did some power-ups. We did the catch power-up specifically. And today we want to go down this list of more power-ups. But I wrote down something that I think we hadn't discussed in a previous episode, which is make catch remember. What does it mean? Well, currently the way this catch works is when I shoot a ball. I like how I lost the ball there. Okay, so now I have the catch power up, right? And if the ball hits the paddle, the ball gets just like reset in the center of the paddle, which I don't really enjoy that much. Mainly because it kind of seems odd. It seems like it seems like, you know, the ball suddenly jumps to the center of the paddle. I don't like that. I would prefer for the ball to be like just stick to the paddle whenever it hit the paddle. Maybe not whenever it hit the paddle, but maybe just, you know, stick to the top surface of the paddle somehow. And I would like to implement this before we move on, because I think this is kind of like, this would make this power up feel a bit more cool. Okay, so let's try to make the catch remember. Now, how does this work? Let me go to see how we implemented this the sticky ball situation, because that's basically what we want to do. Sticky. So this is where we trigger when we remove the sticky. Okay, so here's where we set the position of the ball. When the paddle is sticky, we just set it to the center of the pad, and that's fine, but not always fine. So now I would like the ball to be moved together with the paddle, but I don't want it to be like perfectly at where the paddle is. Where do we move the paddle? Here we move the paddle. Okay, so at this point where this is executed, this is where we set the position of the ball when the sticky is true. So when we execute this, the paddle has already moved in our update function. So when we put in some code that relates to the position of the paddle, this is already a new position of the paddle for that frame. So that's what I wanted to check out. Cool. So how are we going to do this? I'm wondering. So we know that we moved the paddle by dx, so it might be actually worthwhile, or might just work if we say, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with setting the y position of the ball always above the paddle. But maybe we're just going to say, okay, if that happens, then let's put the ball, before we change anything, let's keep the old version around just in case. The old version actually was way better. Okay, so I'm thinking just moving the ball, just not resetting the ball position, but moving it to in sync with the paddle. So basically they would just move together. Instead of the ball being always reset to the position to the center of the paddle, they both retain their previous position and just move together synchronously. I don't think if this actually came off on the camera, but whatever. So here is how far we moved the pad. But see, we reset also the pad. That's kind of like a problem there. You know what? We're gonna cross this bridge when it comes up. Or do we? Because maybe another solution would be to just save like an offset position of the paddle to the ball, like where exactly on the paddle is our ball in the X position. The Y position we don't really care about that much. Maybe that would be wiser. Okay, so let's maybe should we do this? I'm sorry, I'm thinking about this a little bit. Okay, so let me just do this. Let me just do this. We're gonna say ball X equals pad X. I'm gonna call this sticky X. Sticky underscore X. This is going to be kind of like a new variable that we define. And that new variable will define exactly where on the paddle the ball sits. How much do we add to the paddle position to define where the ball sits? And all we need to do is now just calculate sticky X whenever we turn on sticky paddle. So I'm going to copy these two lines because the sticky X is actually this thing, floor. The width of the pad divided by 2. So I'm just going to copy those two lines, and I'm going to go over to serve ball, where the first time where sticky happens. This is the first time we deal with sticky X. Okay, so we're going to go here. I'll copy the two lines. I'm going to define sticky X as as this. Okay. That's the width of the paddle divided by 2. Good. Cool. But now there's a second position where the paddle becomes sticky, and that's when the power up happens. And here I accidentally found it. It's in our update function here as well. So if power up is on, sticky becomes true when the ball hits the paddle. In this case, we want to calculate what a sticky X is, and that is just going to be pad X minus ball X, I think. Is it? I think it is. I think it is. So if they're both the same, it's 0. If ball X is to the left, then that becomes negative. Oh, actually, it's ball X minus pad X, I think. Because if ball X is smaller, yes. And that would become negative. Okay, so something like this. So I think it's almost finished now, except from one more thing. Is it? Oh, actually, maybe not. Oh, it might be actually working. Let's try this. Okay, so this works. And now it's sticky to where the ball was. Ha! It was simpler than I expected. I'm going to try some extremes position for the balls, because I think there might be collisions where the ball hits the paddle. Yeah, see, so now the ball is like hanging on to the pad like in a very extreme position, and also it's flying downwards, which is also very, very bad. What a cruel fate. So we're gonna have to fix that somehow. We're gonna have to make sure that it's always going upwards. See, now it's still going downwards, because I think we hit it on the side and it would. So that's what the problem is. But it should that be a problem? I'm not sure if this should be a problem. So let me see real quick. So maybe we'll make it only sticky if the ball dy is positive. Ball dy is negative. No, it's negative, yes, minus. It's smaller than 0. So let's try this now. See, now it didn't catch the ball because it bounced sideways off the ball. Oh, off the pedal, I mean. Because basically you missed the ball. Okay, now it's hanging onto the pedal, but that's okay now because it was going upwards. Yeah. Okay, so now it's working. There is still some collision problems that we're having, and that's something I want to also address. Perfect. There's a small problem now that we can now do this. Love it. This is great. This is really great. Okay, so we're gonna have to fix that as well. Let me see. So I think when we launch the ball, we're gonna make sure that it is inside the screen. Oops, we're too far up. Where do we launch the ball? There. Sticky equals false. Yeah, this is where we are. If ball underscore x is smaller than how do we do the collision again? We do it from the center of the ball, right? Just checking real quick. There we go. No, where is it? There we go. I'm gonna maybe do some text so I find it later a little easier. Check if ball hit wall. Okay, so this is the collision detection with the wall. So if sticky then ball, yeah, I'm gonna paste it in here, and I'm just gonna basically go ball x equals mid, because we learned this function already. It looks for like the middle value between 3 ball x and 124, because 3 and 124 are basically like the edges of the screen, and we want to make sure that our ball is between 3 and 124, like this. Wait, this is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. This is not the right one. What we're looking is here where stick equals false. Ah, yeah, we started to write this. Yes, here is where we wanted to paste this in. Great. So yeah, and so now when the button is pressed, when it's sticky, the ball is released, and if it's outside of the screen, it will get moved back inside the screen, just to prevent any bull crap from happening. So let's see if we can make this work. Okay, so now it's at the edge of the screen, and now it's returned into the center of the screen. Oops. Oh. Yes. Seems like it's going well. Cool. Before we continue, I wanted to address one thing. In the comments, somebody said that now that we added those indestructible bricks, and also those bricks that have to be like the hardened bricks that have to be hit multiple times, now the collision detection between the bricks, the ball and bricks, that isn't working so well anymore. The ball gets stuck again. And I thought about this, and seem to have an idea why. And also we saw like there is still a bit of a problem with the collision detection between the ball and the pad. And I think we can still solve both problems by going, you know, the extra mile of reiterating on the collision detection one more time, making sure that the algorithm that gets a ball outside of a collision, that this one is really, you know, working well. The problem that we're having there is that the collision, we had a bit of a sloppy collision detection so far, and that was fine with the bricks when they disappeared anyway, when we hit them. But once we get in situations where there's like multiple bricks around you and some of them don't disappear, and then the ball collides with some of the bricks and maybe overlaps with some bricks and some of them don't disappear, then you really have to make sure that you have code that makes sure that, you know, the ball gets actually removed from the collision before it bounces in some other detections. So we're gonna, at some point, we're gonna sit down and make an episode or two about writing down code that actually rewinds the trajectory of the ball to a position where it's no longer colliding with anything, and then resumes the trajectory of the ball. And that will solve both the issues that we have with the unbreakable bricks, but also it will solve issues that we have with now with the ball sometimes, you know, getting stuck inside the paddle. Because I think that's the problem, like the ball gets stuck with a paddle and then you move the paddle and then it gets stuck again and stuff like that. And I think if you just rewind the trajectory of the ball, we won't have that problem. At least I hope so. Okay, so let us now continue to the next thing. And so the next power-ups, we have speed down and speed up, and we have also expand and reduct. I thought maybe you're doing the expand and reduct. I think that would be nice. Right, so let me see what the numbers for expand and reduct are. Let me go first with expand, and then we're going to see what's up. So here's expand, that's power-up number 4. And I thought maybe about, it would be nice if there was like it would animate outside, but I'm not sure if we can pull this off. Maybe it would be easier for now to make sure that it's working like this. So update game. So I'm gonna do like a check for it here at the very beginning. If power up equals 4, then I think check if pad is bigger, and then check if pad is smaller. By the way, just for you, we are in an update game function right now. We're writing this on the top of the update game function. And we're doing it up at the top because the size of the pad that has impact on, you know, where the limits are of how far, at least how far right the pad is allowed to go. If the pad is wider, then it has to stop earlier. Then you cannot move it as far right as you could have when it was narrower. So we need to do it before we try to manipulate the position of the pad. Right. So if power up equals, I think it was 5 was reduced. So now there's also another problem, like because I think the width of the pad was hard coded. We just defined it somewhere. Where is it? Here, pad W. That was the that's where we saved the width of the pad, and 24 is actually quite large. So I'm gonna say like pad WO. That's kind of like the original width. We can call it original width. And that's basically just going to be something that won't change. That will basically be like how you call it, a constant variable. So it's not a constant, it's a variable, it's a constant. So it's something that's actually never changes throughout the game. It's just like Pico doesn't have like an ability to define a constant, so we just go with a variable here, and then I'm gonna call this that's the current pad width. We already coded everything so it works with pad W for collision detection and stuff like that. So so that's gonna be pretty easy. Right, and then let me go back to where we were. There we go. So actually, so something I'm going to do here is something different. And we're going to do like an else statement, because if the power-ups eventually run out, then we want, of course, everything to return back to normal. So we're going to go pad w equals pad wo. And here we have to construct an else statement. There we go. I think it's else if, right? Should shrink. Check if pad should grow. Shrink. Shrink. There we go. Okay, so here we're gonna just half the size. Yeah. I'm gonna go floor half. And then here we're gonna double the size. Actually, I'm not gonna double the size. We're just gonna go 1.5. I think double would be just huge. And it's not divided by them, but multiplied. And here's also later on where we can put some code to make this thing happen gradually, not just like suddenly. But that's, you know, advanced stuff. So I think this might actually work already. Let's try this. Oh yeah. Just want to make sure that the power-ups are actually running out. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, good. There's an unclosed function somewhere. I think our if statement was broken. Update game, there we go. Else if, and maybe it should be the else if after all. Yeah, okay. The problem is we don't actually getting the power ups, so we're gonna have to modify the randomizer for the power ups. There you go, spawn pill. Let's go with 4 for now. So that's expand, and nothing happened. But also, we're not really getting, let me see. Yeah, the time is set to 0 right now, so we should put a timer in here as well. Let's try this. Yeah, there we go. That's good. Something I wanted to see is what happens if I get this power up when I'm on the edge. I want to make sure that I'm not like get locked inside or something. So I'm going to set the count time timer to just 100. So we maybe get. It seems like I'm not stuck. Okay, so I want to maybe hit him here. Oh, come on. Oh. Okay, never mind. I think we'll be fine. Then reduce is 5. I'm gonna check if reduce is also working. So we need to... And I think, you know, in the release version of the game, I think we should make the standard size of the pad a little bit smaller. I think it's a little bit too easy right now. Spawn pill, there we go. 5. So this is going to be down all reduce upgrades. Ah, yeah. See, this is also a much more interesting game, I feel. Maybe not quite as small, but I think this might be actually worthwhile doing something like small like this. Okay. Okay, good. So a couple of things I wanted to tweak first. So this is working. What do I want? Yeah, of course. When we have, of course, the when the reduce is on, of course, the idea was that it doubles the amount of points you get. So we have to also pay attention to that. So if power up equals 5, this checks something we're gonna have to do where we hit bricks. And that's what we do here. And so here's where we're getting points. So let's just, I thought maybe about creating a new variable for this, so we don't have to put like an if statement every time. We're just going to put like a multiplier in there, and that multiplier just basically says like, okay, this is now the power up multiplier, so to speak. And so that way we don't have to do like an if statement every time where we actually increase the number of points. So let's call this points mult. And it's going to be 1. And then here at the beginning of each frame, when the shrink is on, we're going to go points mult equals 2, and otherwise point mult equals 1 always. And then we're gonna go back to the brick hit function. This is where it is. And then so it's multiplied by the chain and multiplied by points mult. And then I think somewhere else, yes, here as well, multiply by chain. That's P, power up, yes. And then this also. Okay. So this is points mult, this is points mult, this is points mult. Good. So let's see if this works. So we're getting like 10 points here now. Now I got it. We got 70 points. Yeah, because we hit 2 things. 90, 110. Yeah, we got 20 points for each. That's good. That's good. That's exactly what we wanted. Okay. So this is all working now. This is all working now. I'm gonna write down smaller paddle. Yeah, let's write down better collision detection. Better collision. That's something we're gonna do at the very end, and that will just instantly make our game so much better. And then also gameplay tweaks. That's gonna be just playtesting and stuff like that. And one of the gameplay tweaks I think is going to be smaller paddle. Okay. So we did expand and reduct. All that is left is now speed down and mega ball, and then the multi-ball, which is going to be a big big task. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. So see you next time around, guys. Bye bye.